I'm Peter Bocko, and I work for Corning Incorporated. Corning's interest in digital signage comes from the fact that we participate in two very key technologies that are utilized in digital signage. The first is display glass, which Corning pioneered, the first LCD substrate, and I myself have been working in that market for 25 years, and we continually reinvent ourselves to make more vivid, brighter, crisper displays, which are going to be so important for the digital signage market. The second area is that we make a glass called Gorilla, which is a very damage-resistant glass that makes very accurate touch experience, and that's also going to be very important for digital signage, as well as the fact that it retains strength even when it goes very, very thin, because we know that a lot of these devices can't be inches and inches thick. They need to be slim and sleek as possible. And there's one part that Corning participates in that is generally unseen, and that's the wireless and the optical fiber infrastructure that brings all this vivid, interactive information to all these digital signage of the future. Corning's very enthused about this application because big is good, and we sell glass by the acre, not by the square foot. Also, it is going to be bringing TVs and devices out of the room, out of the people's homes, and into the public. And we see this is going to be a very huge market with lots of growth. Corning thinks that digital signage is in its infancy. We've been interested in it for a while. One of the things about it is that the supply chain is very complicated. How are decisions getting made? Where are the standards coming from? So it's going to be a very complex market and maybe highly fragmented for a while. But I just love the amount of enthusiasm at this conference and at this show. And I'm seeing a lot of technologies that have a rather weak value prop in the home having a huge value prop in the public arena. Yes, I was the original technical advisor for Corning's project, A Day Made of Glass. And we just released this year our follow-up to that as well. And what Corning was trying to do initially was just to communicate to our employees and also to our shareholders Corning's enthusiasm for this highly connected future that we were going to have with ubiquitous displays that are used to help people collaborate, to communicate better, to navigate their environments better as well. And our response has been just incredible. 18 million hits on that video. And I think we're approaching 2 million hits on the successor as well. And so what people like about it is they think about glass as just being a boring material, but we think about glass as being an enabling foundational technology that's going to allow people to interact with electronic information in a much more vivid and interactive fashion. And I think we lit a little bit of a fire. And we're also working with other players in the value chain. How can we make this compelling future a reality? Well, there's a whole range of technical feasibilities in a day made of glass. Some of these things is just a matter of will, meaning that if you wanted to have a kitchen where you had a display and a burner for your stove and it communicated with your cell phone, you could probably do that now, but it would be like a $200,000 kitchen, and that's maybe a little impractical. So a lot of these things are not necessarily technology limited, but more, market limited and value limited. As these applications develop, I think that we'll see the prices come down and people will be putting interactive displays in very interesting places. I think in the retail environment, there's a very strong value proposition. You think about the way that marketing messages are communicated today. A person is sitting home in their living room and watching a commercial, and hopefully they'll remember that marketing message by the time they get to the store. Just imagine the power that there is of actually delivering that marketing message right where the consumer is making the purchasing decision. I think that's extremely robust value proposition, and I think that as we work away at some of the technology limitations and the cost limitations that these new markets will develop. Well, Corning is participating in just about every major trend in display, in advanced touch, in optical communication, and the question is, what's the future going to bring? I think 3D is in its infancy. Thus far, it's been a little bit of a disappointment. People aren't necessarily flocking to theaters to watch 3D content, but I think, and certainly in the home, it's not really been helping sales. But I think we're many years from holograms, and you can't project an image onto empty space. You just can't do it. You need like a glass screen. Isn't that great for Corning to do that? And I think to create a very compelling environment using like three-dimensional technology, it requires auto-stereoscopic 3D imaging. And that's coming along, and it's being driven by the ability of the LCDs to make extremely fine and crisp images as well. So I think in a retail and a public environment, to have the screen just kind of reach out and grab you as you walk by, I think 3D might well find a very interesting home in the public environment. There is no such thing as a unbreakable material, no less. There's no such thing as a unbreakable glass. The fact is the way that we market Gorilla is that it's highly damage resistant. In your devices, your electronic devices, for example, a cell phone, you throw in your pocket with your keys and you're dinging up the screen. So what happens is that you're introducing flaws to the glass, and the flaws can act as a break source, because with sufficient force, any material can break. So what Gorilla does is it creates what we kind of refer to as an armor coating on the outside that's very difficult to penetrate, and introduce a failure flaw in the glass. So we don't say the glass is strong, we say that it's damage resistance. We don't say that it's unbreakable, we say that it's robust. Yeah, we've done that. We've done a baseball, we've also done ice balls, because we're also looking at Corning glasses being covers for photovoltaic cells, which you have to worry about once every 20 years, and these things are expected to last for 30. You're going to have a hellacious hailstorm. And so the way we test it is we send a several-inch diameter ice ball at about 60 miles an hour, about the same as a little league or fastball, and it just kind of disintegrates when it hits the glass. So yeah, it's quite remarkable. I was trained as a scientist, and I go way back in Corning, 33 years, and when I joined Corning, we just hired physical chemists and geologists and physicists and then trained them about glass. So I had to learn glass from Corning, and I've been working in glass now for these 33 years, and you're always learning something new. Now the new generation, and I'm more of a executive now than a working scientist, and I'd say that my chief value is as a BS detector, not necessarily as creating new ideas. But the new generation actually we're benefiting from the fact that a lot of universities are training students in glass these days. So I would say that right now we've got the most creative technical staff that I've ever seen in my 33 years at Corning. Well, I think it's a great show, and I'm really gratified to see some of my old friends. I stopped by the planar booth, and there's an old colleague that I worked with over 20 years ago. And so what we're seeing is a lot of the skills that were applied to mature the display technologies for primarily consumer use are now being applied for the public displays and the digital signage. And it's really exciting, because we see it as a market that has a lot of growth in it. I think the applications are only limited by our imagination, and I'm really excited. I wasn't sure when I was asked to attend this, but I'm really glad that I have, and I think I think the Corning is going to be here every year. I'm Pete Bocko. I'm with Corning. I'm at Digital Signage Exposition. Sign up, sign on. It's all here.